And by fitness, I mean bringing people together, fitness enthusiasts from across the place to come and celebrate the fitness together. So maybe an example of Hell's Gate Biking Fest. So this is where people celebrate fitness through biking. So we have people coming, who both cyclists and non-cyclists. Then they come together. We enjoy cycling. Then, if you don't know how to ride a bike, you can learn how to ride a bike. And in the process, we encourage people to keep fit through biking.
Indeed.
In Nakuru, I had mentioned we have another event in Nakuru known as Nakuru Fitness Week. So for this event, we've partnered with numerous gyms in Nakuru. Then on one weekend, every half year.
Every 6 months.
Every 6 months, yeah. We have now these gym members coming together. But then it's not only focused to gym members only. It's open to everyone, whether you hit the gym or not. We come together, then we have outdoor Zumba, we have yoga, we have dance and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are 2 events.
Yeah, those are 2 events.
What else have we done? Is the business thriving?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. However, let me say, when you're quitting employment and getting into self-employment,
it's a roll of a dice, man.
Yeah, you have your own goals.
Yeah.
I remember my very first event that I hosted.
Which was?
At this event, I'm even ashamed to talk about it because we ended up being just me, a friend of mine, and the bouncers. Nobody showed up for the event. And
wow.
Me, my friend, bouncers, and the DJs.
Wow.
At the end of the night, we were there looking at each other, and I don't have money to pay the bouncers. I don't have money to pay the DJs.
Wow.
I don't even have money to pay for the cab for my friend to go back home.
Wow.
Yeah, this was in Nakuru.
Yes.
And I remember that's when I started realizing employment is, self-employment is not as we normally think of it. Of course, you have your own plan, you have your own objectives, but as I said, vitu kwa ground sa zingine, you get kwa ground and that's when rubber hits the road and you realize, wow.
So somebody listening to you now, and despite all the challenges that are happening in our, with our economy, would you advise them to still stick into employment? Somebody who wants to basically start a business, they've got a dream, they've got an ambition. They're listening to you, they're like, wow. What's your advice?
Let me say, if you follow your heart, I wouldn't point out someone.
Where does the mind come in? Because there's heart, then there's common sense.
The mind comes in imagination. And remember, you can't move even an inch without imagination. You have to create. Like for me, what I do is for every event I host, even before I start the event, I put an imagination. I imagine of it in my mind. And remember, you can imagine of something, and you can imagine from something. So that's where now the heart comes after you imagine to of and from. So imagining of is say you want to start, you want to quit your employment. So just imagining quitting your employment, and you're imagining of a business that would start. But then imagining from is you now put your imagination to a point where you've already maybe resigned from your job and you've already started this business. And you're imagining from it now, how is it going? How many people have you maybe employed? What's your cash flow in the year? What's your cash flow in the month? What are the things you're doing? Like for us in events, how many events am I hosting in a year? How many tourists am I hosting in a year?
Do you plan all of that in advance?
So before I started, I was planning about that in advance. I had a target of hosting I had the target of hosting about 250 tourists every year. and hosting 6 events a year.
Where are we now?
Right now, we have 3 events a year.
How many tourists?
Tourists, we're about to hit 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
That day after your first event.
Yes.
What made you wake up and keep on going? You said, I'm gonna do this again, man. Why did you throw your hands up in there and say, skip this? Me, I'm going back to the bank. Or I'm going to go and get a job.
Mm-hmm. Let me say there's something we call the staying power. This is something that Napoleon Hill spent most of his life studying, the staying power.
Yes.
And as an entrepreneur, you have to have
staying power. Right.
Yeah. And staying power means the spirit of not quitting.
Yes.
And always remembering that failure does not come to a person who doesn't give up.
Yes.
Failure comes to the person who
doesn't try.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And if you try and you fail, you have to wake up tomorrow and
try and keep on going.
Yeah.
Listen, so you're still relatively young.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? It's like you have this great urge.
Yeah.
Of being a business person.
Yes.
Not wanting that security blanket that is employment.
Yeah.
What is that driving force? Where's that from? Is it that you want to chart your own direction?
Yes.
Or you just don't like mutu ambaye anakukalia? You told what to do?
No. Actually, you might be surprised.
You worked for 4 years. Yes.
Yeah. You might be surprised in self-employment. You have people telling you what to do than in employment.
I like that.
Because in employment, you only have your boss telling you, this is your work for today.
Yes.
Then you meet in the evening, they ask you, where is the work I gave you?
Yes, sharp.
But then in self-employment, you have bosses. That is your customers.
Indeed.
And you're reporting to all these customers. If you don't do what they want, they're not going to pay you. You're not going to pay your bills. So actually you end up reporting to more people. And sasa hapo hata watu wanakukalia zaidi kuliko because in employment at times you might just let things slide. You're still going to get your pay anyway.
Yes.
But in self-employment, you don't let anything slide. You have to wake up, you have to serve your customers, and not just serve them the way they want you to serve them.
Yes.
If you don't, they're not going to pay you. And they're going to move on to maybe the next service provider, and you're doomed.
Now, born and raised in Kirinyaga,
yes.
Studied in Siaya County. Siaya, ne? Bondo.
Yeah, Bondo.
Yes, and then, now based in Nakuru. You're really unatembea Kenya, but why Nakuru County? I mean, clearly, I'm like, there's the Rift Valley, Lake Nakuru. There's so much. There are various parks there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But was that your consideration when you said you?
Let me say, unlike Nairobi, Nakuru is one of the cities with a very small community.
Right.
We are a very small city, and it's easy for you to know, almost everyone. And not just in your industry, even in other industries. So it's a city where it's easy for you to create networks, and not just networks, but deep networks.
Proper connections,
yes. And then I operate from Nakuru, but most of my customers are actually in Nairobi.
Right.
But I love the connections in Nakuru, with the Nakuru people, and with Nakuru as a place.
What is the industry? Is your dad good with it now?
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, when parents start seeing you're doing well, they really don't care whether you did engineering or tourism. Yeah.
That is so true, by the way.
Yeah.
That is so true. So what's the future? Where are we going?
So we
because you said 250.
Yeah.
6 events.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 events.
Yes.
Just close to 200.
Yeah.
What's the 5-year plan, Dodd?
So my 5-year plan is 12 events. 12 events a year. And 500 visitors a year. Because remember, where I am right now is not where I actually wanted to be.
Yes.
At this time, I wanted to be at about 300 and about 8 events.
Right.
So as I work to make the current situation work,
Right.
there's also the future. So I'm still sticking with my 5-year plan.
Okay.
As I work on my 3 years plan.
What is the what's the speed bump?
Mm-hmm.
What's slowing it down, do you think?
Let me say, when
is it you have not put yourself out there enough?
Uh-huh.
Is it there are less tourists coming in? Is it the red tape? What is it? Bureaucracy? What is it?
No, not really. But when you're starting off, there's what you've studied. There's what the research you've done on the internet. There's what you've read in the books. But then there's what is actual in business.
Right.
So what you've studied and what you've done your research, at times it might not be applicable. So what I've realized is that in your first, second, and probably the third year in business, there's the time to learn the ropes. Yeah, because remember, the knowledge you had, you have to now unlearn and start now learning afresh. Because what used to work for the tourism industry, say 5 years ago, does not work right now.
Right.
But the research that is there is from 5 years ago, 2 years ago, last year. So you have to take a break, which most people, when you're starting, you start with targets of 10, 20, 30, 40 as you go up. But then there's what we miss in between the first and the second year, whereby you have to now take that break. You study the industry, and now you're studying the industry while you're inside the industry, not when you're outside, anticipating to join the industry. Yes. So I think that is the small delay that has been there, but now we're good. Right now we've studied the industry well, and we're ready to venture afresh. And they say if you can't do great things, you do small things in great way. And we've been doing small things in great ways, so we're now ready for great things.
Is the Tanzanians, they're bringing up, they're a challenge, are they not?
Yes. They've not been a challenge, but just with our rates, So
what about our rates? As in, we're higher.
Yeah.
Are we more expensive as a destination?
From this year, we spiked the rates for Masai Mara.
Oh, I saw that for foreigners coming in, yes.
Yeah. Initially, we used to be way below Tanzania. But then, in terms of our hospitality, in terms of our accommodation, we're still
our
infrastructure. Infrastructure, yeah.
That is in terms of the lodges and the hotels, right?
Yes. Even in terms of the food, if you eat food in lodges in Tanzania and lodges in Kenya, it's a very big difference.
So you don't do beach, do you? Like, you wouldn't do events at the coast? It's strictly Nakuru?
No. As I said, it's a 5-year plan.
Yes.
So
yes.
As we venture some of the events that we already have within Nakuru County, we're going to start taking them out of Nakuru County and hosting them outside Nakuru County. Then also having other events, at the beach, in Nairobi, in Kisumu, across. And now that we're registered as WISO Africa, we're ready to also go African, not just in Kenya.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Are we the only people who do this in the industry, by the way?
Yeah. I would say most people are focused on tours only. Okay. Tours and travel. Actually, even you see most companies are tours and travel.
Yes.
We are the only tours and events company.
I like that. Tours and events.
Yeah.
With the bias being fashion and fitness.
Yeah.
I like the way you took a dramatic pause. It's like you don't know your competition.
Mm-hmm.
No, do you know your competition?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do know my competition, but still they're more focused on tours.
I love it. So tell us, man, how does how does one get in touch with you? Before you go, your handles. How do people touch base with you?
Okay, we on Instagram. Jerry Njanja. So that's Jerry. Njanja is NJA. Same on X, and then on Facebook, Njogu. Jerry Njogu. Then the company is at Whistle Africa Tours and Events across all the platforms.
At Whistle Africa
Tours and Events. Yeah.
All right, man. What's your parting shot, my brother?
So I would say in life at times there's where we decide to be, and there is where we are, and the difference between the two is imagination.
There's where we decide to be, there's where we are. Yeah. And the difference between the two is imagination.
Yeah.
That.
When God was creating the world, He created the heavens and earth. Yeah. And He imagined having created the world.
Yes.
And our imagination can take us as far. Yeah. We won't create heavens and earth.
Right.
But we can create the world that we desire.
Jerry Njanja, my brother, thank you so very much for coming on Transformational Thursday, boss.
Thank you for hosting me.
You know what? Godspeed and us as the natives, we are going to do more, by the way. Yeah. And by the way, with your event,